Okay, hi all. So this is going to be a quick video just basically walking you through the basics of modes. Now this is going out to a few people, so I'm going to try not to use names for that reason as well as privacy. So just bear with me and I'll be dryly talking you through all this. So modes, just if you it's probably a good idea if you get out your own notepad and just copy this out letter for letter and add your own annotations and questions to send to me if you need. So yeah, just follow along and I'll be stopping for 10-20 seconds at certain points just so you can catch up or digest things. Now, modes 101. So we are going to start with C major scale, and basically modes are altered major and minor scales. So there's 7 notes in a key and 7 chords corresponding to those notes, as you probably already know. So we'll start with our standard C major, which is going to be our first mode. So 7 chords, so C, D, E, F, G, A, and B. Now, we'll just number these 1, 2, 3. Come on, camera, focus for me. 4, 5, 6, and 7. Now, what we are going to do is we're going to label these, and this is the first thing you need to get memorized. So if you don't have it already, so major, I'm just going to put abbreviated version. So major, minor, minor, major. No, wrote minor there, so stick with min. Okay, major, minor, minor, major. Major, minor, and diminished. So I'll just put dim there. So pretty much just write that down and then go through it until you don't need to look at a book to have this memorized. You should have major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, diminished. So C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, diminished. That you should have that off by heart. Now, what we are going to do is we are going to start splitting these into modes. Now there are 7 modes, so each note or each chord of this C major scale is its own mode. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to annotate the modes above, and I'm going to start in abbreviation form, but then I'm going to fill them out in full below. So I'm just going to put the numbers here. Bear with me, I know my handwriting's pretty terrible, but whatever, we're not teaching calligraphy here. So we'll go for, right, there are 7 modes and 7 notes, each one as the base of its own mode. So first we have Ionian, which is the same as major. Then we have Dorian, which is the altered minor, the first one. Then we have Phrygian, and then we have Lydian, and then we have Mixolydian. And I'm going to explain these in proper detail later, so don't worry if you're getting lost. Then we have Aeolian, and then we have Locrian. So below we have, I'm going to write these out in full, Ionian. Okay, and then Dorian, and Phrygian, and I always forget how this one is spelled. Phrygian, like that, P-H-R-Y, Phrygian. Then Lydian, Mixolydian, Mixolydian, and then Aeolian, and then Locrian. So take some time to fill those out. And then basically each one of these modes is either a major or minor scale or an altered major or minor scale. It's really that simple. And now because of the way they incorporate different chords, they switch the chords of the major scale out for other chords, then basically they all have their own individual sound, which is used in a certain type of music excessively and is therefore associated with lots of different, genres. So Ionian is the same as C major. So C major, it could also be called Ionian. like that. So just stick that up there. It's the same one. It's the same mode as the standard vanilla major scale, C through B, with this order of chords. Now, Ionian. So this is basically happy. So I'm going to just, it's basically any happy pop song you hear is going to be written, make that capital. Each and any happy pop song you hear on the radio or whatever is written in Ionian, pretty much. So Ionian has nothing done to it. It's the completely vanilla major scale. Now, Dorian is so it has a kind of jazzy sound to it. It's used in jazz a lot because it has a kind of slightly altered, it's made out of an altered minor scale essentially. So it has this weird jazzy feel to it. Now, what Dorian has is a flat third and a flat 7. So flat 3, flat 7. So if I take if I took a minor scale and then I flattened the 3rd and the 7th note, then it would become a Dorian scale. So moving on, we have Phrygian, which is the second kind of altered minor. Now, Phrygian is it's kind of Spanish. It's used in flamenco music. So if you hear any kind of Spanish guitar in anything, chances are it's written in Phrygian, or it's at least using it in points, because it just has that sound. Now, Phrygian is a pretty complicated one to memorize because it has a flat 2, a flat 3, a flat 6, flat 6, and a flat 7. So start with, when you're trying to memorize the degrees of the modes, start with the ones that have 1 or 2 alterations, because it's too much. Don't go in over your head. It takes time. So Lydian. Lydian is film score composers like this one. It's used in a lot of film score music because it has an epic sound, so a sort of epic, grandiose feel. Now, it's a pretty simple mode, actually. Start with trying to memorize this one, I'd say, because it's got a sharp 4. So a major scale with a sharpened 4, for example, if I take this C major scale and I sharpen my F chord to an F sharp, then it would basically become C Lydian rather than C major or C Ionian, as it would be known. Now, all you really need to do is include this sharp 4. Now, Mixolydian. Mixolydian is a common mode for country music because it's got a kind of happy sound, but it's a slightly sort of, it's hard to describe. It's just listen to country music, and that is the sound of Mixolydian, that sort of twangy, bluesy thing you get. Now, like Johnny Cash uses this one quite a bit. So it's basically like the sound of Johnny Cash. Now, this one's also a very simple one. So it uses a flat 7. That's the only thing that's been done to it. It's an altered major. So if I take this chord, the 7th of C major, and that would now become B flat major instead of B diminished, it would become C Mixolydian. Don't worry if you're getting lost, because this really does take time to go in. This is us just taking our first steps into how to process modes. This will take some time, so just be patient and it will come. So Aeolian is the standard minor. So it's a standard minor scale. If I start from the 6th of C major, I'll be in A minor, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A. And it's like C major, it's had nothing done to it, apart from thinking of the minor as an altered major scale. So if that sounds confusing, it's basically just in classical music theory terms, everything is derived from the major. So even a minor scale, which is contained within a vanilla major scale, is thought of as sort of a corrupted or just an altered major scale. Now, what the Aeolian focuses on would be the degrees flat 3. This is what's been done to it: flat 3, flat 6, and flat 7. like that. And finally, we have Locrian, which is kind of, I forgot to annotate it there, it's sad. So just sad, because it's minor. Standard minor is sad. If you hear a sad pop song on the radio, then it's probably going to be written in Aeolian. It's not going to be in anything challenging like an altered minor, Dorian, Phrygian, anything like that. It's just going to be standard sad minor scale mode, so Aeolian, most likely. So Locrian is the final mode, and this one is where, if you're paying attention, you'll know it's diminished. So the seventh chord is of the major would be diminished, and this is going to be the most evil sounding mode, the most jagged, angular, unpalatable one. So I'll put evil, or just, I'll actually put awful, because this is how my guitar teacher taught it to me. And so he called it awful minor, because it's a very weird sounding, kind of jagged sounding mode. So awful sounding, metal players, horror film soundtracks, anything like that, it's used. If Phrygian or whatever isn't minor enough for you, isn't jagged or negative enough for you, you're going to use Locrian, most likely. So this one is going to use, now this one is also a difficult one to memorize because of the amount of alterations. So we have flat 2, flat 3, and we have flat 5, hope I don't run out of space, flat 5, flat 6, and flat 7. Simple enough. So basically we have all the modes there. So copy them down. I'll give you a minute to just catch up there. And then what we're going to do finally for this part is we're basically just going to memorize them with a handy acronym. So this, it was taught to me at music school and I have never forgotten it. So I hope you won't either, because it's a great acronym. So what we're gonna, so we have IDPLMAL. Now, IDPLMAL. So recite that a few times to yourself, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna put words to it now. So I don't particularly like masturbating after lunch. And this is the one I was taught, and I've just never forgotten it. So use this to memorize the order of modes. So we have IDPLMAL. I don't particularly like masturbating after lunch, and see how quickly you can recite those. So Ionian, Dorian, Phrygian, Lydian, Mixolydian, Aeolian, Locrian, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Each of these letters, or each of these notes / chords, correspond to their own mode. Each one contains either a major scale, a minor scale, both in their most vanilla forms, or an altered minor, altered major, diminished, like that. And it's that simple. So copy all that out, make sure you've gotten it correct. Any questions, just hit me up. And then in the second part, we're going to go into the notes of each mode, and we are going to look at what they are, and also we're going to look at the modes from C. So we're going to do each mode from the root of C, and we're going to alter it to make it fit into its own mode. If that doesn't make sense, bear with me and I will illustrate it part by part in the next part. So I'll see you then.